Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Tailgate. I'm Stacy, he's Louie, and we are going to be your host here this morning. We've got the London game going on right now, Denver, the Jets. It is really, really ugly. We'll talk you through some of that. Hopefully, you don't have too much fantasy implications going on in that game because I got to tell you, it is not looking good for anybody. We're going to go through some of the key storylines today. We're going to talk some injury news as the actives and inactives are coming in. Try to say that all in a row together without messing it up. We're going to talk to you about our starts, our sits, some of our key DFS plays today. And then last but not least, little guy Maddox trying to get his first final like Monday Night Football win. He's 0-7. It's not looking good for him. If I were you, I would just take the opposite of whatever his picks are so far, and you'd be in a good spot. But
we have to rename Maddox to Mush. He's the character from Bronx Tale that always loses. We gotta rename him. And but man, at this point, any record's a good record. Put it in the. I mean, this is impressive in its own right.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like the Jets over here without a win so far. He's the Jets of the Sunday tailgate, unfortunately. At least he's cute. At least he looks good doing it. So
definitely better looking than Justin Fields for sure.
100%. 100%. A couple people in the chat, guys. Thanks for hanging out, Jamie and G Hop. Thanks, guys. Guys, if you have start sit questions, anything like that, throw those on into the comments. We will get to those as they are coming in. Right now, just to update everybody, I'm sure you guys are watching. It's halftime at that game. Broncos up 10-6 over the Jets. They've got 2 field goals. Yeah, Justin Fields is 17 yards right now. Breece Hall's got 24 yards. You got Bo Nix over as the leading rusher for the Broncos. Nate Atkins with the only touchdown in the game thus far. Raise your hand if you started Nate Atkins today. You did not. I want to see a lineup if you actually did that.
I will say I have him on some really deep rosters that are like start 2 tight ends. I don't think I ended up needing to start him anywhere, but I did see the name and said, "Come on, man, what is going on here? What is all this?" It's always with these international games. It's the only touchdowns are guys that are in third strings. Nobody else wants to play there. Let's stop doing it. Let's stop making me put in 100 lineups before 9:30 in the morning. I'm on vacation and I'm up since 6 o'clock in the morning doing lineups because it's a dumb game.
At least you're on the East Coast. You could be like on the West Coast trying to get up at, 3 a.m. or something like that. Or I don't know what time they have to get up, but something terrible. Something terrible. We got G-Hop over here with some news. News is saying Bam Knight's going to start over Michael Carter. So saw that earlier from Shefty. He wants to know redraft PPR full X. Carter or Luke McCaffrey. Scary Terry is out. They got some issues with Debo. I might lean Luke McCaffrey here just because of the injuries,
I kind of like both options because I think McCaffrey could have a decent game because of that, especially with no Debo. But I'm not leaning too hard into this Bam Knight starting news. These coaches and reporters do this crap all the time, and it's so weird. Like, why do we need to know this? It almost seems like they're just trying to help the fantasy football community, but sometimes they'll say someone's starting. It's just the fact that he's going to be out there for the first drive or the first play, even. And sometimes they think it's a strategic thing. I don't get what you're trying to do with Bam Knight and Michael Carter. I don't think anybody is really trying to really scheme against either of them. But no, I kind of still like Michael Carter probably the most in that backfield, but it's really hard to not fade the whole backfields. But I think I'd still be Michael Carter.
It's pretty ugly over there in Arizona. And can I just also say I have so much beef with all of the reports coming out with the Michael Carters, okay? Because there's a Michael Carter that plays for the Jets, and they never specify which Michael, and he has had some injury issues. I'm not sure that he is playing, but he plays defense, right? So we'll get these notifications like Michael Carter out this week. And I immediately see it and freak out, and then have to wait a minute. is this for the Jets or is this for the Cardinals? Like, hang on here. So I need you guys to specify. Everybody putting out news notifications about Michael Carter, please specify which Michael Carter it is for all of our sakes. Please do that. Oh my goodness. We've got a couple other, speaking of that, right? Are they really gonna, who's the starter? Does it really matter? We got a notification also about Haskins is supposedly the starter over Vidal. Also, note last night they did sign Naheem Hines also.
Yeah.
So let's just make it even grosser.
Yeah, it's same type of situation. And I have definitely split my interest this week. Like almost everything on the waiver wire, I was $1 higher on Vidal over Haskins. I just chose that, and you know what that is. That's 3 years of Vidal hope still in my brain. That's just if I have to make a decision, that's the tiebreaker. I have no idea how that's gonna to pan out, but I guess I want Vidal and his quote unquote upside compared to Haskins. So gun to head, I'm playing him over Haskins today, and just hoping for the boom. But it's really hard to start either of them until you kind of see what's going on. But this is another situation of like, all right, you wait a week to see how it pans out, and then you think you got to read, and then next week it's the next guy. So you kind of just have to play vibes sometimes, right, Stace?
Yeah, you do, I think. And this I was gonna ask you, like, I'm glad Jihad put it out there because I was gonna say, like, are you team Haskins, team Vidal? I put a bid in for Naeem Hines last night in a league where literally every single running back I have is on IR. So it's just one of those where who knows who it's going to be. I mean, you just don't know. And I think maybe eventually they go with the hot hand. I did also see something that today, I think Underdog posted it, that it looks like Omarion Hampton's going to be out even longer than those original 4 games. So that's not great if you've got him. It looks like we're going to be stuck with these 3 for a little bit longer than we had hoped. But G-Hop's actual question was start Vidal or Michael Carter or T. Higgins. And I never thought I'd probably say this, but I wouldn't go anywhere near T. Higgins today.
Man, I'm totally opposite of you. And this
Really?
is, but I will say I am absolutely, I feel like in the minority here. I've gotten an argument on my podcast with this. I just got an podcast or an argument with my friends here on vacation. I think Flacco revives this offense a little bit, and it's so gross to say that. I think that you're going to see. I don't want to say. I don't want to say Burrow-esque, but I want to say how Browning looked the first time last year or 2 years ago when he had to jump in for Burrow for 8 games. Like I think Flacco could get the numbers up here. So this week, I want to start T. Higgins, especially like in DFS where he's probably going to be low owned. I think Higgins is a fun play this week. I'm 100% him in that deal.
I mean, not today. I hope you're not right today specifically, because they are playing my Packers, and you already do have a history of predicting Packer losses.
I will not even go that far today. I'm not predicting a Bengals win, but I do think the offense is going to look better with Joe Flacco. And even though he's been on the roster for 4 days, I think he still will be much better than Jake Browning.
I certainly hope so. I mean, I think we all hope that like that kind of revitalizes the Bengals offense a little bit. I mean, it can't get much worse. It's so depressing to watch their games. And you've got Jamar Chase, you've got to deal with T. Higgins. Oh my God, Chase Brown. Like, you've got a lot of guys that you took from the Bengals in really high draft picks that you're absolutely sitting there thinking like, do I have to sit Jamar Chase? Like, like is that's going through people's heads, and hopefully Flacco can kind of stabilize things a little bit,
I think we'll
Fingers
see.
crossed. Fingers crossed there. Uh is this like wild that the Jags are 4-1? I didn't think they were going to be this good.
It's kind of weird how they're doing it. I did think that I did have a lot of confidence because I really do like Cohen. So I had confidence that and I've always been a Lawrence guy,
Yeah.
but it's not Lawrence blowing up, obviously. It's not him going off nowhere. Hunter is really having trouble finding his place in the
Yeah.
offense and defense, right? Like and where he fits in there. So it's kind of crazy how they're doing it. I did call or felt comfortable, I'll say, about the ETN kind of revival, but
Mhm.
it's not surprising to me in a weak division that they're sitting there. I don't know today how real it is, but
Yeah.
I it is it's not shocking to me that they're there. But it's a hard offense, at least from the fantasy aspect outside of ETN, um, to read each and every week.
Yeah, so Travis Hunter saw more snaps on offense in week 5 than he has so far all season. So I was really kind of encouraged by that. I've got him in a couple places, not a ton. Do we think that continues? Do we feel like he's gonna see more and more snaps as the season goes on?
It even that has been so weird how one inconsistently they talk about what they want to do with him, and then from the words that are coming out of their mouth to actually how they use him the next game
Yeah.
is absolutely insane. So there hasn't been a lot of clarity there. It's part of the reason why I faded him altogether in Dynasty and a lot in redraft is just I, I I thought they're trying too hard. I think he's a better corner, to be perfectly honest. I think he's better suited to be a corner, and
Mhm.
I faded him all around in Dynasty and here in redraft because I do think he eventually falls into that. I think
Yeah.
he falls into a starting corner that's a gadget offensive player. So, does it continue this year? I mean, it's not like they have a lot of help around him. And something's going on with Brian Thomas Jr. Like,
Yeah.
he's just not the same player. So, I would. It's just it's hard to count on him. I mean, he's the perfect best ball player, but I don't know how many lineup leagues I'm starting him in.
Yeah. I think only if you absolutely have to, if you're in a real bind, I think are you kind of putting him in there and without questioning with anybody else. I also wanted to ask you, we've got Patriots at Saints today. I mean, I think it might be my goal in life to find somebody who looks at me like Mike Vrabel looks at Ramondre Stevenson because like it doesn't matter what this guy does. Like I love Ramondre, I have him everywhere, but like it just fumbles. Like he's got what is it? I think 3 fumbles through 5 games. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And we're not starting, Travion. What's going on with that? Antonio Gibson's obviously gone, is towards ACL. Like eventually, like when are we gonna see more Travion?
as a guy who has fumbled a lot in life and kept people around him to love him, I want to understand what's going on here. I feel for Ramondre. I don't want to jump on Vrabel too much. Listen, this is, and with that being said, I also own about 40% Ramondre through my league.
Yeah.
So I'm a highly invested player, so I want to see it work out. I Vrabel is a little hard headed, and you can tell that he is being that here. We're like, no, we know the guy's good. We're gonna get through this. I think the real important part of it here is that he does have a skill set that Henderson doesn't. I think it's very, very telling about what they think Henderson as a bell cow, and I don't
Mhm.
think we're going to maybe ever see that develop for him if they are so clear cut right now that this Ramondre Stevenson should be keeping him off the field. So I'm not sure. Like people are going to fade Henderson or sorry Stevenson
Yeah.
pretty big here this week. I'm not sure that dies out just yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I mean, I think it like Vrabel is such a player's coach, right? And maybe that's why they're just, giving him more time, a little bit more grace than you would see like in another situation. But
I
yeah,
think
I
it needs
mean,
to get. I think it needs to get better, and I do think that there are players that are prone to it for sure.
yeah,
But I think the luck and the weirdness that comes with those type of turnovers too, I think gives him a little bit more leeway here. I don't know how much more though, because the guy. I mean, you said 3 fumbles lost, but I think he's put it on the ground like 5 or 6 times. So
yeah,
I think he's got
yeah,
lucky that they've gotten back a couple times.
exactly. What game are you most looking forward to for today?
Um, I think. for me, as far as from a fantasy and even just a fan's perspective, I kind of like the Dallas Panthers game.
Mhm.
I think it's kind of an elimination game, right? They're 2-2-1, and then 2-3.
Yeah.
Like, if you lose this game, you're really crawling from behind. Uh, I kind of like both teams a little bit in the beginning of the year to be surprising good. You got the Rico Dowdle revenge game, one of the higher over-unders of the week at 48.5. Some really fun, like, wide receiver options for Dallas when it comes to DFS with Flournoy and Tolbert,
Mhm.
maybe. So I think that game could be sneaky fun with points. So that's where
Yeah.
I'm staying.
I think so too. It's probably not the one I think I'm most looking forward to is Lions Chiefs tonight. Even as a Packer fan, I just really enjoy watching the Lions. They're a lot of fun. So I think that's going to be a good matchup. But yeah, that Cowboys Panthers game feels like it's really set for a lot of fantasy goodness. Did you pick up Ryan Flournoy anywhere this week?
I did, in a lot of deep fantasy. I didn't, or a lot of deep leagues. I don't
Mhm.
think I was in them too much in like the high stakes world, but yeah, he's gonna. I mean, he's the most viable, I think, to have a nice little spike week. So he'll be in a lot of my DFS lineups today for sure.
Yeah, Ryan Flournoy, the pride of Southeast Missouri State. The only reason why I know that's because I have several family members who went to school there.
All right.
Oh man. Yeah, we got this game started back over here in London. No one has scored yet. That's not too surprising. Still 10-6. All right. We got some injuries that are coming in throughout the morning. The ones that we know about, the big ones, Bowers is out again. Godwin's out. Have we heard anything on Xavier Worthy? I know he's dealing with that ankle. I haven't seen anything yet come out this
I
morning. It's a Sunday night game, so we probably won't hear anything for a while, but
I think it was leaning towards he's definitely playing. I think he was off the injury report
okay.
last I heard. So I think he is 100% in.
Awesome. Hampton, we already just talked about this. We heard the news that he's probably going to be out a little bit longer. So we'll keep you guys updated about those as they come in. I think the one that I'm waiting to see is whether or not Juwan Jennings is actually going to play today. It looks like he's leaning towards playing. Obviously, we know Pearsall's out. That's going to have some big implications for those of you that snatched Kendrick Bourne off the waivers. Um, we got some questions here in the comments. Let's get to those. We got Keon Coleman versus T. Higgins, half point PPR. Louis, I'm gonna let you take this one since it's involving your Bills.
It's hard to trust Coleman right now. He got sat last week with the disciplinary thing right away, though. When he did come back into the game, they were making it a focus effort to include him each week with the Bills. There's a new focus. They change from week to week. There's this dumb everybody eats manta is here that or motto that here that they go by. It's really really hard to trust any Bills in a lineup league, especially at the wide receiver position. You're starting Cook and Kincaid every week, but that's about it. I'm T Higgins here for the same reasons I kind of spoke about him earlier. So
Yeah. Also, hey, Dalton Kincaid, if I am looking at this right, he has done really well so far this season. Looks like tight end 4 on the year, 13.3 fantasy points in PPR formats per game.
yeah,
Did I see something a little bit about him on the injury report this week? Is he a little bit banged up, but he's gonna play?
it it it's he's questionable, and I as someone with a little bit of inside here, I not starting him where I don't have Dawson Knox. If I have Dawson Knox or a fleck or a late swap, but it's scary enough that I'm not sure if he will be in. And the Bills usually are overcautious with this type of situation. They have a bye next week. Like, all signs point to, if it's even 50-50, he probably will be out. So I would be more careful. Sometimes these like things that pop up at the end of the week on people, they're like, oh yeah, but he's questionable, he'll be fine. My sense, being out of Buffalo here for the weekend, but my sense from people that are a little bit more in the know is that he might not go. So
Yeah.
I'd be careful there.
Also, Falcons give up the fewest fantasy points to opposing teams' tight ends so far this season, so not looking good.
You know who's number 2 on that list? The
The
Buffalo Bills.
Bills. Yeah, so
Man,
bad
they
Kyle Pitts
made
game
it.
then. That's what we're
Yeah.
hearing. Not a good day for Kyle Pitts.
Not a good day for Kyle Pitts either. And this is funny because last week, the first person I thought about that would kill the Bills was Hunter Henry. It was the first. I was like, man, Henry's going to have a huge game. And that's
Yeah.
when I looked up this stat. I was like, man, the Bills is this just lucky? Is this a small sample? And then they shut down Henry too. So yeah, I would fade Pitts pretty hard too. It seems like we're playing pretty good against the tight end position.
Yep. We got a question over here. We got Flournoy, going back to our boy from SEMO, as they call it there in Southeast Missouri, or Sterling Shepard. I don't know. I kind of like Shepard, especially since Godwin's going to be out this week. It's just him and Ibuka, and then Bucky's also out. So they're pretty limited on offense there in Tampa, in Tampa.
I know you mentioned to me that he's one of your starts this week, and I kind of agree there. I'm starting him over. Man, I had a great. Oh, this is a good name. This is the name I was like, oh, I'll think about this one for later and let Stacy know. But I'm starting him over Calvin Ridley. I know in a couple of leagues today where I had that choice, and he was my pick. So yeah, I'm going him over Flournoy. Although
I like both.
Although yeah, I like them both a lot. I think they're fun plays.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so no one has scored yet in this game over here. Just
yeah, you don't need to keep looking at that. That's
no. I have a feeling we'll know. Oh no, wait. I'm sorry. I take that back. The Jets got another field goal, so 10-9. Look at that, 10-9. Only 1 point difference. So why don't we go ahead and hit up some of our starts, some of our sits this week. Louie, tell me who is one of your big must plays.
So I am really big here this week. We'll talk a little bit about some props later, but I like the idea of Isaiah Bond this week. I think people are going to sour on him a little bit because the numbers weren't really there last week with Gabriel, but the targets were. His target share is growing each week, and I think that's going to hit. I think Gabriel's upgrade, obviously, at quarterback, so that offense might get a little bit better. His numbers are very, very low, 27.5, 2.5. So like that's a little bit scary, but I think sometimes those are set when people are just only looking at the numbers and the stats from each week and not the targets. And his number keeps on growing. So I really like him as a start this week. And Jake Tunges is an absolute start of the week every week at the tight end position until Kittle's back. Like he has proven that he is a must start at the position until Kittle comes back. And I'm not going to keep playing around sitting him because of the name. Like, no, he needs to be started in all leagues. So yeah, those are two guys. I Stafford at the quarterback position I really like this week against Baltimore. The only thing with that I would get a little bit nervous of is if they get out to a big lead, then things slow down a little bit. But I'm not expecting that in that game.
No, I think that game is Baltimore is having a really rough go of it, and I mean I feel like anytime whoever you got, is if they're going against Baltimore, you're absolutely starting them. So fire up all your Rams, everybody.
For sure.
I got a couple for you. And of course, I don't think this is going to change depending on whether or not Jawan Jennings starts, but I got Kendrick Bourne is on my list of starts today. Pearsall's out, Kittle's still out. We just talked about with Tonjes, right? Even if Jennings start, he is really banged up. Did you see that hit that he took not last week, but the week before when he went out? Like it was like towards like the goal line. It was vicious. I kind of like Kendrick Bourne here. You can throw on the Bucks. Bourne and Jones have great chemistry. And even with CMC there, and he's going to be their main guy, those guys can still coexist. Last week, they both got over 20 points. So I don't think it's one versus the other. I don't think, he's just going to pass. You're just going to ignore CMC. That's never going to happen. But you can still kind of get in there with some receiver points too from the Niners. And yeah. What were you going to say? Sorry.
Oh, no, I said, no, I like that. I'm sorry. I thought you were going into something else.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like Bourne a lot.
Yeah. Bourne's good. I mean, once all the other guys come back, I think it may be a little bit different. Purdy gets in there. They don't kind of have that same connection. So, if you have him, if you were able to scoop him up off waivers, this is probably going to be one of the last few weeks that you probably are going to be able to use him consistently or even really feel comfortable about it. This week I've also got Uncle Rico. This is kind of an obvious one. Of course, you're starting him against Dallas. You got the revenge game narrative that we already talked about because I love a good revenge game.
Yep.
But it's also Dallas, right? I mean, like, look, Rico's not going to get 206 yards again. Probably. Who knows? I mean, maybe he does. But probably not. But I still think he's going to have a really good day. I mean, you can definitely run on Dallas. That they're right there with Miami as far as like their run defense is not very good at all. The Cowboys are allowing 75 yards over expected, 127 yards rushing yards per game, and they've allowed 21 rushing touchdowns so far this season. So it's setting up to be a really good day for Rico. Chuba is out with that calf. I kind of learned last year with calf issues you don't come back from those that quickly. So as long as Chuba's out, you got to fire up Rico. I think that's a have to every week, even if they're playing, like a better team or a team with a better run defense. I think you still have to start him every single week. Did you have any Rico anywhere? Because I only had him in one place last week.
I had him. It was one of my biggest fades. So it's not that's him going on any kind of extended run probably
Mhm.
won't be great for me overall portfolio, but I definitely had him in a few places because I have somebody in every place. I did. I got somebody somewhere. But no, it wasn't. He's definitely not high up in my portfolio, and it was a monster weekend. I think he follows up. I know you're joking around that there's no way he gets up there, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean,
Maybe.
his props are set at like close to like 100 yards today.
I was gonna ask, like, where is he at, like, with that? Because
Yeah,
I bet he gets 100, at least 100 today.
yeah, I'll look it up here, but
Yeah, I feel pretty confident about that. So Marcus wants to know Bourne over Hollywood. Um, I would still take Kendrick Bourne over Hollywood Brown right now. Like they're just, um, you know, the guys on the Chiefs, especially you're getting Worthy back, and this is for today, but even for rest of season, like Hollywood, his numbers have just been decreasing. They've got Tyquan Thornton there; they're using him in a very specific role. Hollywood's numbers have not been really all that great. Same for Juju, also too. Both of them are kind of tied together. They're both having, kind of that similar, decline in numbers and targets and everything. So I'm gonna go with Bourne. I think he's got way more upside than the Chiefs do. Not the Chiefs receivers, with the exception of Worthy this week.
I agree. Bourne's the one there over Hollywood for me, and it's not like by a ton. I just think this. I think this thing with Bourne kind of, to your point, runs another week or two.
Mhm.
It might get harder here soon, but the Chiefs is very much like very kind of, although they have Worthy as maybe the clear cut one right now, but they're very much the Bills in sense of like they spread the ball out a lot too, and you don't know Thornton or Juju or Hollywood like who's gonna. Hollywood is like the next most consistent,
Mhm.
but he's good for your 8-9 points, and you can, but there's not a lot of upside there.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
will score 3 touchdowns today. Now that I said that, but
he's gonna go off for a ton. I think the most likely scenario, right? Kendrick Bourne has a better day than Hollywood for sure. Yeah. So he says he started Bourne to replace Hollywood. You're definitely not tripping. I think you are. I think you're right on track with that. For sure. I got a couple honorable mentions that didn't quite make my must starts, but I feel like you're going to have a pretty good day. So, news out of Arizona, why are we talking so much about the Cardinals? But Jacoby Brissett is taken over most likely for Kyler Murray today. He's got that foot issue. And honestly, Kyler's not been that great this season so far anyway. So, I'm giving Marv a little bit of a boost here. Obviously, he and Kyler haven't been on the same page ever. And it just seems like they're still not on the same page. So I don't know. I'm just thinking maybe a little bit of a switch up at quarterback here gives, Harrison a little bit of a boost. Maybe we see some things a little different from him today. So I kind of like him today. I like Trey Tucker with no Bowers there. He's got a 17% target share on the season. They're going to have to get him involved if they're going to want to do anything. And I mean, you've got Vegas, and then you've got the Titans, and they're both terrible, and they both need this win. Like, I don't want to watch this game at all because I think it's going to be gross. But I can't think of like another matchup where both of these teams absolutely have to win in order to like keep their season going.
Every week we get closer watching Geno Smith play football. We get closer to my prediction of Kenny Pickett playing 8 games in the NFL this year, and we're so close. I text Ryan Mura, my co-host on Analytics for Nerds. I text him every week. Every interception, I go, Pickett any minute now. I predicted early in the season that Pickett would be a starter for half the season somewhere. I think we're getting close there in
Yeah.
Vegas because Geno is rough. Right.
It's not good, and it seems like I just keep seeing it, and I'm like, Geno's not bad. Like, he's not a bad quarterback. Like, is he just in his head too much? Like, is something going on? Like, does he have like 8 or 9 interceptions so far? Like, he's leading the league in interceptions by a long shot. So, he's gotta get right and get himself figured out. I got Bill Krosky merit also. I heard this stat from Matthew Berry. So he was taking 70% of the running back rush attempts last week. The Bears are giving up the 4th most running back fantasy points per game so far this year. So I like him to kind of separate himself. I think Chris Rodriguez is also out this week. So his only other competition back there is going to be Jeremy McNichols. So I like Bill this week for sure.
Yeah, last I saw, he was questionable, Rodriguez. I don't know if there was any clarity on that this morning, but either way, I wouldn't consider anybody in that backfield competition to Bill right now. I like that pick.
Yeah. Just got news out of Arizona for sure. Kyler Murray officially inactive. Also, for those of you that have got, when we were talking about Dallas earlier, Kevontae Turpin is also out. So that kind of still boosts Flournoy just a little bit even more for me because Jalen Tolbert did nothing to separate himself,
No,
last week at all. So I like Flournoy then even more so now. And then also big news, Chargers, Quentin Johnston out for today. He's got that hamstring issue against the Dolphins. So does this make you feel good about Lad finally?
I mean, maybe we should. I'm a little bit excited for my Trey Harris bags, I guess, for at least a week. Not that I have them anywhere in lineup leagues, but still. But no, yeah, Lad's a little bit scary right now. I think he'll be fine. It's just, I think one thing people, have forgotten this week when they've talked about that with Johnson maybe being out and how that helps Lad. It's it's not Johnston that was hurting Lad. It's
Right.
Keenan Allen, and they have the same skill set. So I think as long as Keenan's healthy, Lad's performance is going to stay down a little bit. But sure, this will be a little bit of a bump just because of the extra targets that will be available.
Yeah. Kind of going through, we're getting a lot more news about the actives and actives. They're really starting to kind of roll in right now. Alvin Kamara is going to play against the Patriots. That was a question somebody put in on Twitter earlier today. They wanted to know Alvin Kamara or, oh my gosh, who was it? Is Alvin Kamara or somebody else? Anyway, I think we eventually went with Kamara there in that situation. So he's playing. If Alvin Kamara is on the field, you're going to start him, no doubt. Last but not least, we talked about Sterling Shepard, all those reasons, right? Godwin out, Bucky out, 14% target share of the season. Baker Mayfield really likes him. He's a good, reliable target for them. And like, as much as I love Emeka Buka, you can't throw him every single pass. So somebody else has to catch the ball.
Yeah, I this might be a Kate Otten week a little
Maybe.
bit. He hasn't done it yet. It's kind of not kind of. It's really weird. I mean, he had been, a pretty big part of this offense. And it's not like it's not like he got replaced by a tight end that was better
Yeah.
or anything. It's just they're not using that position. They're not finding that throw. I wonder if he's forced to find Otten a few more times this week, and there's a little bit of upside there.
Yeah, I do. I like Kate Otten. He had a couple really good boom weeks last year for you. And the Niners are kind of falling right in the middle about points as far as where they give up to opposing teams' tight ends. They give up about 13.6 per game, which is a lot for a tight end position that, usually you're not going to get a good average over like 10. And that's like a good day. But they fall right in the middle. They're about 15th overall as far as fewest points that they give up. So my phone just keeps like buzzing over here with all the inactives that are just like coming in. Zay Flowers active after being questionable with that shoulder injury. So if you had a question about him, obviously you're going to start Zay Flowers most likely, unless you have a better option, which maybe not. But scrolling through these, I think we hit everybody that's fantasy relevant so far. If we get any more, we will make sure to let you know. Well, I mean, I guess we have to kind of go on to the sits now. We got to be a little negative. Who are some of your sits this week?
Sorry, because I know I thought about this here. I mentioned we talked about them a little bit, and I'm gonna pick two here on the same team, and the
Mhm.
Jags. I don't love this matchup for them against Seattle. I think this defense is uh, way more underrated, especially against the passing game than people give it credit to. So I'm not gonna get too high on the Trevor Lawrence hype from last week with the rushing and everything. I mean, I think
Mhm.
he's a fine quarterback to start most weeks. I wouldn't be doing that this week. If you have Lawrence on your team, you probably have like a two quarterback system where you're making tough decisions each week. I wouldn't be starting him this week. And I'm not saying it's done for him as a player or a dynasty asset or whatever, but I'm not starting Brian Thomas Jr. until like not as a clear cut wide receiver one, which he came into the season at. Like
Mhm.
again, it's really hard to like sit him if he's on your roster. I get it, but if you're really really heavy at the position or have really good options because you drafted well, I might be
Yeah.
fading him. I would at least keep my expectations in, and then this again might be a little bit obvious at the tight end position, but just uh, Johnson, I think you need to really have some realistic expectations on how that probably comes down now with the return of Taysom Hill and the return of Foster Moreau. Like I think that's a player that for the first few weeks he was giving you top three tight
Yeah.
end scoring. I don't think that that's going to happen, but he's fine to start as a back end tight end one.
Yeah, Brian Thomas averaging 9.6 points per game, and that's in PPR formats to full point PPR formats. So as much of a boost as you're going to get. That's not what you drafted him to be doing. Not one bit. Not one bit.
Not at all.
No.
I think it does get better, but right now it wouldn't be this week that I'd be betting on it changing because they really have shut down the passing game most of the time.
Yeah, well, and it's not getting any better. Next week they play the Rams, and then they're on a bye. They do get Vegas after their bye, so there's that. And then they've got Houston in week 10, and then the Chargers. So like it's just like a string of really tough defenses for them all the way through. You're getting close to your fantasy playoffs. I can't imagine that he has really helped you. He's probably hurt you more than anything.
For sure.
Yeah, that's not great. All right, guys. So I've got a few over here. I've got both guys, Warren and Gainwell from Pittsburgh. This just feels like this Pittsburgh Cleveland game is going to be, I don't know, like a 9-15 field goal palooza. Chris Boswell is going to have 20 points like on your opponent's, roster. Cleveland's not doing much well, but they are really limiting those opposing running backs. They're giving up the second fewest fantasy points per week. They're only giving up an average of 75 rushing yards total. So, like, not just like per player, like, we're talking like total. So, it's like everybody. So, I'm not really excited about either one of these guys. If Warren wasn't playing, maybe you start Gainwell and just hope for the best. But I think they're both going to be healthy from what I can tell. They're both playing. So I'm not really excited about firing up either one of these guys, even after Gainwell just completely went off, last week in Ireland. I'm not super excited about this matchup for the two of them today.
No, I would be. It's tough because I also think Gainwell played well enough to cut into what you would expect
Mhm.
Warren to have. So I think there's going to be a little bit of closer share there. And to your point, Brown's defense a lot better than people are giving him credit for. I don't love the running backs. You call the low scoring game. Again, I said I'm a little bit high on Bond, and Metcalf is interesting to me in these games. I do think it could be a little bit more of a passing game than people are giving it credit to, especially because both teams are pretty decent against the run. And I'm betting on Gabriel a little bit. Like I did not love him as a prospect, but I think he might be a good. I really think
Yeah.
Gabriel might be good. I'm
I liked
excited
what
to
I saw
see.
last week.
Yeah, I think he's going to really help this offense, and that he is going to be the guy there eventually that they're going to strap themselves to.
Yeah, Steelers not the defense that they used to be. They're giving up a lot of quarterback points. So I don't think you're wrong there. Also, too, I think Calvin Austin is also out. So another reason
Austin's out.
DK Metcalf even more of a bump than you would already, have given him. Second one for me is going to be Jamison Williams. Really disappointing year for him after he signed that big extension. One boom week 2 against Chicago. Rest of season, he hasn't scored over 7 PPR points. And I mean, it's not even like he's not on the field because he's on the field between 80-90% of the snaps, right? So I just don't feel like I can trust him right now. I feel like you've definitely got better options out there. And then you've got Kansas City, who is actually pretty tough on opposing teams' passing offenses. So another reason not to love Jamison Williams this week. Again, of course, he probably gets like a huge, like down the field play and runs it in for a touchdown. But overall, I'm just not sure I can trust him right now until I see something different.
Jamison Williams is, the girl that said if you buy her flowers, she'll take you to the prom. He has been Man, he has been so disappointing for me. I was really into that. I thought that it was gonna, I follow the money and the systems.
Yeah.
I'm very much never a profile guy. I've said it on this podcast. I've said it on mine. I where the money is and where the systems are. And, he got paid and he's in a great system. And I thought it was just going to happen. And for whatever reason, it hasn't. Also, to your point, the day that you sit him is going to be the day that he's going to go for 3 touchdowns because he's got that spike. I I'm nervous, but I don't think it's dead. So I think in this game it could be a Jameson Williams this week. I don't know if I'm sitting him, but that's because I can't get it. Like I'm at this point, it's a blind hope. I can't.
Yeah.
I got too much in them that I got to just you got to push the chips in and just hope that it hits eventually.
Well, it's like you said, you gotta trust the money right there. Like teams aren't gonna just throw away money, not throw away, but throw money at players that they're not gonna use. They're just not gonna do that. Despite like everybody's like, well, what's gonna happen when Brock Purdy comes back if Mac Jones is playing really well? They just paid
Yeah.
Brock Purdy like $250 million. So
Yeah.
like, Purdy is gonna start. Like that's just how that's gonna work. Is that gonna be a tough decision for them? Maybe, who knows? But that's how those things work in real NFL teams. Maverick has got a question here. He wants to know Jacoby Brissett or Geno Smith here.
Quit
Um,
that league.
yeah,
Quit that league is the advice. You're
yeah.
done. You're not going to win this year. You can just give that one up. Don't focus on that league. Focus on all the other leagues because it's not going to be good for you.
No. You've got Arizona facing. They're in Indy facing the Colts, and then you've got the Vegas. I think they're at home. Yeah, Titans are coming into Vegas to play them there. Oh my God. This feels bad. I honestly I know what I've seen from Geno so far, and I don't love it. I just dropped him this morning. I'm gonna go Brissett here just because he's new, he's fresh. You bring in a backup quarterback. They usually have a great week, convinces everyone to go spend a ton of money on waivers. We're probably going to talk about Jacoby Brissett tomorrow night on waivers. So I think, and then inevitably the following week they're going to completely disappoint you. So I got to go Brissett though this week. Just I don't like what I've seen from Geno. I think he's in his head too much. There's something weird going on there in Vegas, weirder than what usually goes on in Vegas. But I don't like it. I don't like what's going on over there. Let's go Brissett.
Well, he clarified that it was super flex league and he has Lamar and Jalen. So, okay, I apologize. Your team's
Don't quit that
fine
league then.
and you just got to get through the week. You're gonna be okay. Um,
Yeah.
but it's still a very tough decision. I think I'm gonna lean with you on Brissett. I just think Gino is really down, and I'm not joking when I say I think we're this close to Kenny Pickett. Like he throws 2 interceptions in the first half, like he get pulled, and now you got minus points at the
Yeah.
position. Brissett, there's nobody behind him. There's a revenge game there too. Me and Stacy
Oh
love a good
yeah,
revenge
that's
game,
right.
another revenge game,
That's right. The
and
Colts. That's right.
he does. I know he's older than he was, but he does. He's always had the rushing upside a little bit
Mhm.
too. So I think Brissett is probably the play there.
Yeah, I like that one. Last sit for you guys is going to be DJ Moore. Lowest snap percentage
You
in week
hate
4.
DJ
I
Moore.
do.
I
I
feel
don't
like
hate
he's your
DJ Moore.
sit every week.
Listen, every time I see him on the Bears social, like he's just darling, and I'm just like, oh, why don't I like DJ Moore? I see him on socials, and I'm like, he's precious. I don't like him in fantasy. Uh, I said lowest snap percent. He had 76 snap percentage against Vegas in week 4. That is down. He was in the high 80s, 90s all throughout so far the season. It just kind of feels like he's being phased out, right? It doesn't seem like he's really connected there. There've been, going back to last season where he kind of just like walked off the field. I didn't like that personally. That was kind of bad body language, bad vibes for me. And I don't like to base my analysis on vibes, but in that particular situation, I was like, you can't like walk off the field on your teammates. You can't quit on your teammates and then be expected to continue. And I know Ben Johnson is a really big body language guy, everybody buying into the new system, the new culture that he's trying to build there in Chicago. And I kind of foresee DJ Moore eventually either being traded or something else. But I mean, Roma Dunze has taken over that job hands down. And maybe the first 2 weeks you could be like, oh, we'll see. DJ Moore is coming back. No, Roma Dunze, that is his job. He is the wide receiver one, no doubt. He is not giving it back. So I can't start DJ Moore unless I'm literally down to like, nothing on my roster right now. But I just don't feel confident about starting him right now.
No, I'm joking with you because I feel 100% the same way you do. They're going to. I think he's a very big trade candidate over just even the next couple weeks. One, but two, I think they're going to want to start, phasing in Burden and Loveland more here. I don't think it was ever about this year. I think that they're going to want to kind of instill their offense with, they're these 4 guys going forward and get them more involved. I think it's more important to that organization to start getting Burden and Loveland more than to try to have a season where they win 9 games and lose in the first round, So
Right.
I think you will start seeing that, and that could happen any week, right? Like it could just be this is Burden's the number 2 now, DJ Moore is 3, and you're already seeing the target share and the snap share trend towards that. So I agree with you. I'd like to know where because I know I've started them in places this week,
Yeah.
DJ. And I would like to know what my decisions were there because they had to be pretty easy because I'm not feeling great about them.
Yeah. I've got one where I was holding off to wait on the Juwan Jennings news to see if he was going to start. And if I get news that he's going to start before 1:00, I'm probably going to swap DJ
It,
for Jennings.
it is it's coming.
That's a 4:00 game.
Sorry,
So
Jennings. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I missed it, but Jennings is playing. It was
he's
reported
first.
that
Okay.
he's
Oh, good.
expected to play. So
Okay.
I think that's something that at least Schefter spoke with certainty on. I know that it's not an 8:00, or it's a late
Yeah.
game,
So
but he'll be playing. It looks like.
I mean, it works out with that too because the Bears don't play till Monday night, so both of them are late, decisions. But let's move on real quick. Let's get some of our DFS, our prop dart throws. Who you got? Mine are always terrible, and hopefully they'll come true. Who knows? But you do this a lot better than I do. So tell me what are some of your picks for today?
So I have McBride over 56.5 receiving yards, kind of to your MJH point, just a different guy. I just think Brissett's going to use the tight end a little bit more. Usually the backup quarterback with a little bit lesser of an arm is going to kind of check down to the tight end quite a bit. I like McBride here easily over 56.5 today. And then I mentioned him earlier, but I'm all over the bond props, like over 27.5, over 2.5 receptions, plus 450 for an anytime touchdown. Like, yeah, okay, across the board, I'm good on all three of those. He catches one 30-yard bomb for a touchdown, and I'm right there to win all three. So I like those two the most today, as far as looking around and seeing where the value was.
Nice. Apparently the Jets got a safety. And
We're
now
doing everything but scoring touchdowns. That's great.
it's 11-10 Jets, and then Garrett Wilson just fumbled
It's going to
spectacularly.
be insane that they beat the Jets.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, London, that you are being subjected to this right now. 21 seconds left in the third, going into the fourth. Although notoriously, my TV is always behind, so we could be in the fourth quarter right now, for all I know.
Don't apologize for London. This is for not giving us our independence when we asked for it.
There you go. There you go. Now
you get
have to watch
Justin
the Jets.
Fields at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we're playing the long game. You have to watch the Jets in person now. Oh man, I got a couple anytime touchdowns for you today. I got a Meko Buka going into the end zone. God, like I said, all these guys are out. He's got 5 touchdowns in 5 games. I love Baker to keep that going. I think he's going to get in the end zone again. Did you see the clip of sweet Rob Gronkowski mispronouncing his name on their pregame show, and then like having a special little one-off FaceTime with him to learn how to say it later?
No.
It was hilarious. So Gronk totally butchered it
Oh, I
last
did
week.
see that. Yes.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah,
saw that. That's great.
rough. And then yesterday it was floating around the internet. I saw a clip of, I guess they were like FaceTiming or something, like him and Emeka, and Emeka's like teaching him how to say it. It was really cute. Very wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if anything with Gronk is ever wholesome.
That
But
might have been. That might have been it.
I'll take your word for it. Sure.
Yeah. And then I got a Trey Tucker touchdown for you. Tennessee is giving up the most passing touchdowns so far in the league. Tucker hasn't had one his last 2 games. He did get 4 in the first 3 games, so I feel like he is due, especially got Brock Bowers out. So I kind of like Trey Tucker to get in the end zone for you again today.
Yeah. Love that.
Fingers crossed. We'll see again. That's not a game you want to watch.
I think you talked me into Trey Tucker here just in this hour. Okay. I think I'm going to go swap some DFSs with some Trey Tucker. I like the call.
Yeah, I have to start him in a league that I paid an outrageous amount of money to get him. So hopefully that'll pay off for me this week. Do kind of need a win in that league. Not that anybody cares about what my fantasy stuff is doing. Guys, like I said, he's 0-7. Lil Maddox is back with his picks. We got 2 games coming up for you this week. We got Buffalo at Atlanta is the first game, followed up by Washington at Chicago tomorrow night. Let's see who.
That dog better not pick the Bills. That dog better not pick the Bills.
I've got some bad news for you.
Oh man, I'm gonna lose my mind. I want to like your dog.
Well, here we go. Maybe this will be the week that he does it. I mean, eventually he has to get one right? Like eventually he can't go and however many Monday Night Football games there are now that there's 2 a week. I can't do that math, but here you go. I'll let you guys decide.
On the day I was born, the nurses all gathered round.
He picked the Bills. Yeah. He also picked Chicago at home. You couldn't really tell there. He kind of scattered both, but when I had to go grab it from his little jaws, it was the Chicago helmet. So,
well,
Fingers crossed.
That means congratulations to Atlanta and Washington on your wins. I'm gonna be miserable. I just had the weekend of my life here in Vermont, and then I'm gonna end my vacation with a Bills loss. Thanks a lot, Maddox. Appreciate it.
Oh, hopefully nobody's putting money on Maddox's picks. If you are, I would just suggest you do the opposite. And then maybe you'll walk away with a little something in your pocket. Guys, that is going to do it for us here at the Sunday Tailgate. Louie, tell everybody where they can find you and all of your content.
So YouTube, Not Your Uncle's podcast station. We have Analytics Are For the Nerds, which is with me, Allie Brady, and Ryan Mura, usually on Wednesday nights. And then also the Sabres podcast from this point forward, if you want to check that out.
Nice. I'm trying to get up to a Sabres game. They're playing my Lightning in March. And I always try to do a road trip to come go see my Bolts on the road.
You have tickets to the game. You obviously know you have like 17 places to stay if you want, but I
know everyone in that area.
Yeah, it would be so much fun for you to come check out Buffalo.
That would be a blast. I was talking about it last night when I was at the Bolts game. Hopefully they will be doing a little bit better than they are so far this season. 0-2. Mods, real quick, you mentioned Dubs in the chat right there. Before we go, short and sweet, I would fire up all my Packers today against the Bengals if I were you.
I think Dubs is like a really solid, like top 24 wide receiver today.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, that again is going to do it for us here at the Sunday Tailgate. Go make those last minute roster changes. Go put in those last few DFS picks that you got for today. Make yourself some money. We will be back with you next week. We've got Tip Major coming on from Football Guys. He's the host of the Level Up Pod. He'll be joining us then. And Louie is going to be coming back a couple times this season, so you'll get to see him in a little while. And until then, guys, have a great Sunday. We'll see you later.
Have a good one.